All right, laddies, Arm&Gun here. We're going to get a little technical tonight, so buckle in. We're going over what makes Knight's E3 system so unique. So we're going to go over the E3 system itself, which is basically refers to a bunch of internal upgrades on the Knight's AR variant, right? So the SR-15. Starting with the Mod O IWS, I've got a Mod O, a Mod 1, and a Mod 2. And we're just focusing on the Mod O tonight because the upgrades that I'm going to be talking about carry throughout the line. There's some different stuff that changes out with the handguards, the lowers, just cosmetically, and the gas system as the generations progressed. But again, tonight this video is about the E3 system itself, and that's what we're going to cover. So we're going to take this down like any other AR-15, pop out that carrier, which has the carrier group, the bolt carrier group has some proprietary features, and then we're going to compare that against the Lantac enhanced bolt carrier group that I have in my Warsport LVOA. So that's we're going to kick things off. Again, buckle up because we're going to get a little technical. All right, gents, first things first, let's prove this thing clear. And then we will pop it apart. All we got to do is remove the rear takedown pin and then just pivot down, pop the charging handle, pull out the carrier group, and let's get this party started. So then we're going to take this carrier, we're going to strip it all down, talk about all the components, and then reassemble it in the Lantac enhanced carrier group, throw it back in the system, and brag about probably how smooth it will be. This being my passive-aggressive way of telling Knights they should look into some modern Gucci finishes. Just, you know, just for, I have to bug them about something. They are Knights after all. All right, go time. No potatoes here, just the meat. Let's dive into this here. So we've got the carrier group. I got everything broken down here for you. Again, we got the Knights carrier group, which is, again, Knights is top tier. So I have zero issues with this carrier group. I know I can trust it. The only thing, as a modern AR-15 aficionado, I would take a bit of issue with the finish. This is just a basic mil-spec phosphate versus some of the fancy Gucci finishes you can get, such as this. I think this is a nickel boron on the Lantac, which is just lubricious and slick as can be. I've dried it off, I've wiped all this stuff down, and still it's just like, I feel like I'm playing with a wet fish here, right? So it's it's something else. And the fun thing is, despite all the proprietary wizardry that's going on inside the Knight's gun, the carrier is still mil-spec. I can take all these internal parts that are different, with the exception of this little guy, and throw them into this. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna throw the Knight's proprietary parts after I go through what makes them them, and then we're gonna swap them into this system here, and should be pretty cool. Okay guys, the easiest way to jump into this all is with a slight history lesson. So early 2000s, you know, USA is running around the Middle East and they're having some problems with their ARs. So they approach a guy named Carl Lewis, who's actually the owner, the founder of LMT, Lewis Machine and Tool, right? Carl Lewis. And they came to him looking for a solution. They basically wanted a more robust, more reliable bolt carry system for the ARs. And Carl Lewis went to work, developed his enhanced carrier group. And that was kind of the origins of what we're talking about here, the E3 system and the Knight's guns. Because then Knight's went on to further build upon that and improve upon that in a few interesting and select ways. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Now, all those changes centered on the bolt, the heart of the AR system, right? So all these other components have basically been changed slightly, but to work in conjunction with the bolt itself. Even when you go back to the gun, in terms of the receiver group and everything like that, of course, Knight's has some, you know, some of its own little proprietary parts, like the anti-bolt release, some stuff with the gas system, whatever else, you know. It's got that stuff going on, but the only main mil-spec change is the barrel extension itself. And the change there is just that the barrel extension is milled out to accept these rounded radiused lugs on the bolt. And that is the first big change. And it's probably the most aesthetically apparent for anyone else, right? That you can easily recognize. So compare and contrast that with a mil-spec bolt, which has squared off lugs. You can see even this Lantac, I'm looking at it, there's a slight, there seems to be a slight radius, or at least they've taken off that hard edge. Not a hard edge there. But when this locks into the breech and seals up the action, right? Getting ready for that round to go off. The rounded lugs offer an enhanced durability aspect because there's no hard corner, and I got this from Trey Knight himself in one of his videos. Essentially what it does is it reduces the cracking propagation. You don't have any hard corners or hard edges for cracks to start and propagate from. And this is one of the chief things that kills a bolt, is you shear off a lug. So by rounding these out up top and in the bottom, you decrease that span between each one, and you build it up, and it makes for a stronger bolt. Also, the rounded lugs unlock more easily as well, so you get a bit of a slicker action. There's two other big huge changes, but a couple small things while we're looking at the bolt itself. Look at the bolt face. If you can see underneath the extractor, there's no break there. You have a full rounded bolt head and bolt face, and it fully supports the cartridge. Compare and contrast that with even this Lantac Enhanced. You can see, it's really hard to show you, but there is a crack where the extractor is, and you can see it cuts off, it shaves off a flat on that circular base. And so then this way there's full cartridge support, which again, a full unbroken surface support, bearing surface for that round when the case head, when it detonates and generates all those pressures in the chamber. Next up, you can see there's a small channel cut in here to allow dirt and debris to get away from the bolt face there, right in there. The Enhanced, they've got some little grooves around the side, but not quite as pronounced as that big cut there. And then while here, this is another huge difference, is the extractor. A couple things here. The Knights has moved to a dual extractor. You can see that both sides, there's two springs under there. And the idea with that is it puts a lot more pressure on the extractor itself. And then also it also gives you two, so you get kind of a bit of a redundancy there. They've also moved the location, basically the joint where the pivot point is for that extractor. You've got springs under here, pivoting around that pin, which you can see is further back in the Lantac, and that's giving you a mechanical advantage. It's giving those springs even more torque, or more of a mechanical advantage, more pressure exerted on the extractor itself. So part of the reason they did that was when the action is moving and it's rotating, I guess in conventional designs, the extractor could slip over the rim of the case, and that could lead to malfunctions. This just helps prevent that. It helps, again, that mechanical advantage just really grips on their type, rips it out through the extraction process, and then, spits it out. So essentially a reliability enhancement, which is what this is all kind of about, and reliability and durability. Finishing it off on the durability side is the cam pin hole. So another common place where these things are going to break, the bolts themselves, is right on either side of this. That web, the remaining material on the rear end of the bolt, it's thinner on a standard mil-spec design. So they went ahead and increased the thickness. However, that meant then that they had to reduce the size of the cam pin itself. More meat on the bolt is stronger, it lasts longer, just slightly smaller, and it's only in that spot. So again, a traditional cam pin won't fit in there. This will fit in here up to that point. So again, this is still mil-spec. Essentially, it's going to fit in a mil-spec carrier because only the part that goes inside the bolt is milled down. So pretty slick. Additionally, they then shrunk the size of the firing pin hole through the cam pin, probably just to maintain the web size on that. So when you look at your firing pin, then you need a firing pin that's been further turned down in this section right here so that it fits inside the cam pin, which again, a mil-spec will not. Again, just really interesting stuff. All right, guys, now it's the little sacrilegious aspect of this video. We're going to reassemble the E3 bolt components inside the Lantac carrier because the mil-spec phosphate just isn't Gucci enough for me. So again, good as it is, I fully trust this carrier system. Again, Knights built it, so no qualms there. But I think it's going to be a fun little, practice to throw it in this thing here. So starting off, let's grab our bolt head. Get that guy in there. So you can see it fits fine. Just look at that, the gas rings are still engaging there nicely. Get the extractor facing the ejection port. Get our Knights cam pin in there. Give it a 90-degree turn. Our firing pin. Close the whole system and stick that cotter pin back in there. And there you have it. Reassembled. Let's throw out the gun and then we are going to be pretty much good to go. Eugene Reed. I'm sorry guys. But it's not even the only part I've changed on this rifle already. Had to throw a Radiant Raptor charging handle in this thing as well because factory just left a little less to be desired. Alright guys, she's in there. She's really nice and slick, and you know what, if I had a spare sand cutter, if I had a sand cutter bolt, I would just throw that in there. You see a little Knights crest there instead of that Landtac, but hey, we'll see what the future brings. Anyways guys, thanks a ton. If you guys enjoy my content, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things. They all really do help. Hit me up on Instagram at arm.and.gun. I'll have a little finger right there. I post content daily, including lots of story stuff. We have a lot of fun kind of behind the scenes action there, a little more personal lifestyle stuff. And if you really want to go the extra mile, hit me up on Patreon. You guys can DM me there. There's some extra content, a few other perks. And if you need something specific or just have a random question that you're burning to ask me, hit me up there. It's the best way to get in touch with me. Otherwise, I do try and hit the comments as I can see them. That's it for now. Thanks a ton, guys. Arm&Gun, out.